most of my stuff is categorized as hip hop or alternative hip hop,
Mm.
but I want people to listen to it and be like, this is just music. This is just eclectic. But just the fact that I tried it, the fact that I attempted to do it and still make it all mesh together in like a somewhat cohesive sound. Like I would just want people to be able to be like, wow, this kid really knows what he's doing. Like this kid is good at this, you know?
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of the Banquet Hall podcast. As always, my name is Kyler Nathan. I am your host, and I'm lucky to be joined today by Desmond. Desmond, how are you doing today?
Very good, bro. Very good. I'm very excited to be here. My first podcast opportunity. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to it as well, and I already feel our connection growing because when we first got on a Zoom call, you called me sir, and then you just called me bro. So I feel like internally, like I feel a little younger at heart now on this because when you said sir, I was like, I'm entering OG territory. I think according to this chart I saw on Twitter, I think I'm still in Unk zone, but I feel like that sir pushed me a little bit
Mm.
further to OG.
No, it's okay, man. I'm already in unk zone. According to my peers, I'm already unk. So it's like,
Hey, it's all about the right energy, and we're gonna keep the right energy going on the
yeah.
podcast. If this is your first time listening into the Banquet Hall, make sure y'all follow the podcast at Banquet Hall Pod. We're recording this a day after Valentine's Day, so dang, we're already more than halfway through Black History Month. That's crazy.
Already, yeah.
Man, that just made me sad a little bit, but we're gonna keep the good energy going. We got the color coordination unplanned on the video, so if y'all watching on YouTube, if y'all got on some red or some burgundy, we'll get it cracking. But first things first, Desmond, where are you from, and how did that shape who you have become thus far?
Ooh, it's always funny answering this question. When I was going through the document, I was thinking that's probably going to be the one that probably takes the most explanation. So,
Mm.
uh, let's listeners do not get it twisted. I am from Los Angeles. You can see it on the hat. I am from Los Angeles, specifically Hancock Park. That's where my mom raised me for the first like year or so of my life. Um, but then my family connection initially is from Kansas City, Missouri.
Mm.
So I lived there for a solid like 11-ish years, something like that. Um, which is why it's always funny to me when people ask me where I'm from because I'm from LA. That's where I was born. That's where I have my roots. But I did grow up mostly in Kansas City, Missouri until I was about 14 or 15. And then I
Mm.
moved back to Los Angeles. And that's pretty much where I've been since then. So majority of my life I've been in Kansas City, Missouri, but I'm not from there. I am not
Mm.
from there. Never gonna say that I'm from there. I am from Los Angeles, Hancock Park, roots in Inglewood, you feel me? I feel like that has definitely made me a very eclectic person, especially when it comes to like interacting with other people from California that were like born and raised here. Um, it always like because I don't even really sound like I have a California accent or like a West Coast type of slang accent. Um, so I don't know. It always kind of made me feel like a, a bit of a eclectic person or like a bit of an outsider in my own like home. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which I don't know, just always forced me to kind of branch out and I don't know, just kind of carve my own path with this type of with that type of like narrative. Um, I definitely feel like California, especially when it comes to LA, a lot of it is like, oh, what city do you claim? What like street you come from? Like a lot of it is basically about like, oh, what can you rep? I can't
Mm-hmm.
really, I can't really confidently say I rep anything except just Los Angeles because I've lived all over Los Angeles. I've lived in Crenshaw. Like I said, I have roots in Inglewood, Hancock Park, um, East Hollywood, West Hollywood. Like I've lived
All over.
all over. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've lived all over. That's why I'm from LA, you know. I don't know, it's definitely one of the things that I'm most proud of being able to say that I was actually born there. Um, yeah, it's an amazing culture that I definitely like resonate with in my heart, you feel me? So
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And as a fellow person from Los Angeles, I definitely think there's a lot of pride just growing up all over the city. And like you said, being able to say that you're from Los Angeles. But I'm curious. I know you don't rep being from Missouri, but it was also interesting because I was listening to some of your music this morning in preparation for the pod, and you had mentioned Missouri in one of the lines. I was like, "Huh, that's a random place to mention." But now I already got that connection going. But what for listeners who have never been to Missouri, of course, there's this terminology like flyover states or places that people
Mm,
just fly over to get to the East Coast. What's
yeah.
Missouri like? Like, how do you compare it to what you've grown to know about like Los Angeles and San Diego?
Oh man. Shoot. I mean, there's some good barbecue. There's some good barbecue in Missouri. I'll definitely say if you're gonna visit Missouri, I definitely agree with like the term flyover state because there's not really a lot there that you couldn't either number one get somewhere else or is like really that memorable. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I would definitely say visit St. Louis. That St. Louis has like a much larger specifically when it comes to like black creative culture that I feel Kansas City does, even though Kansas City was very prominent for jazz. If you are going to be in Kansas City, um, I would say 18th and Vine. That's like a very historic like area when it comes to African American culture in Kansas City. Um, they used to be like the epicenter of a lot of like jazz clubs, a lot of jazz roots that were from Kansas City were there, and the Negro League Baseball Museum is there. I I would say that if it hadn't been really gentrified recently, like very very badly gentrified. It's I don't know. It's just kind of like it's one of those things where it's like it used to be a lot better or a lot cooler than it is now. So I don't know. Missouri, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't have the best experience growing up there. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I don't want to sound too biased, but it's just not a lot there. You know, it's just not a lot. I definitely appreciate Los Angeles a lot more. I feel like I've definitely grown more into my own, and really been able to reconnect with, where I'm actually from and everything. Yeah, I don't know. That's all. Like I may be a bit biased in that question, but I don't know. Just I agree with the term flyover.
Hey, that's fair. But even if biased or not, it's short-lived experience. So, one of my bucket list items is to visit all 50 states. There are certain
Mm.
states that are lower on that list than others. Missouri might be state number 48 I visit. I don't know. Uh,
Ooh,
but
yeah.
but I think it is just interesting when you meet people from that have grown up or have experienced different areas. I think that's what college brought a lot to me, like going to because I went to UC San Diego also, and just meeting
Yes.
people from all over is interesting. Like my one of my roommates, I think like we lived together second and third year. He was from North Carolina. I knew people from Chicago. I knew people from all these other states, and it's just interesting getting to know people from all
Yeah.
around the world.
Mm. No, I 100% agree with that, and definitely shout out like the college experience for doing that. I met so many different people. I met people from New York, from North South Carolina, from Michigan, from Atlanta, from Mississippi. Like just a lot of people from Texas too, Houston, Dallas. Like just a lot of people that um, I probably would not have like crossed over into their lives if it weren't for the collegiate experience, and not even just at UCSD, also at like San Diego State because I go over
Hmm.
there a lot. Um, there's always just like people with so many unique different like backgrounds and places that they come from. It's really eye opening experience. It makes me definitely like makes my like desire to travel go higher and higher.
No, absolutely. And before we get into who you are as an artist, I'm curious what led you to go to UCSD for undergrad?
Um, it was my It was my second choice for a UC. I'm being completely
Hmm.
honest. My first choice was UCLA because I wanted to stay home, and also the Herb Alpert Music School of Music program was very good. But so was UCSD's, specifically for what I do, which is like music technology and production. UCSD has a very experimental um, background in the music department. So I got waitlisted for UCLA, and I don't know, UCSD was just a couple hours away. So I was like, why not? I had never actually been to San Diego once. I didn't even see the campus before I moved in. But I was just kind of like, it's only a couple hours away. It's still a great music program. It's still one of the top universities in the school in the country, and they gave me some pretty good they gave me some pretty good financial aid and scholarship opportunities. So it just seemed like a win-win. Like, why not just go? And I've loved it ever since. Like, genuinely, it's I'm so happy that I like ended up going to UCSD. Yeah, it's been a great experience. I still have like a little over a year left because I'm a currently like I'm 30. I'm a junior, so I still have a little bit over a year left, and like the time just goes by so fast. It really does. It just goes by so fast.
Trust me, you preach to the choir. As someone who graduated X amount of years ago now, time just flies by. But if I can put my OG, especially OG UCSD cap on for a little bit, just
Mm-hmm.
because one, a lot of the listeners of the banquet hall, they graduated from UCSD or I met them through UCSD. So I feel like I have to like update listeners on what life at UCSD is like. So how are y'all holding down the culture at UCSD is my question for you. You don't got to speak for all culture at UCSD, but just in
Yeah.
terms of like Black community, the Black experience, how are you holding it down at UCSD?
I feel like my first year, and I feel like this is a kind of an experience for a lot of first years that I've like encountered in my time at UCSD. It's very barren until you start putting yourself out there and meeting people. You know what I mean? Like I know my first year, I wasn't really as connected to the Black student culture as I would have liked to have been, just because I didn't know really where to look. I came into UCSD not knowing anybody, like a single person. So I pretty much had to find like a lot of things like kind of on my own in a way. But now that like I know, I feel like the Black experience at UCSD or like the Black culture at UCSD has definitely gotten a lot stronger than it was when I first got here. Um, a lot more people are more open to like meeting each other and going out to do stuff and everything. I currently work at the Black Resource Center, so I definitely feel Black culture like every day. You know what I mean? Just like making events, planning events, and things like that. Um, Talking to the community, hearing what they want to do. Um, it's definitely gotten a lot stronger. There's also a lot more like presence of like Black organizations and everything that have grown from UCSD. A lot of the ones I feel that have grown from UCSD. Um, I don't know. I love the Black culture at UCSD. It can be kind of difficult though sometimes
Mm.
to really feel like that strength because it's a very competitive school. It's a very like time taking, very like taxing school. Because I mean, you only have 10 weeks every quarter, and that includes like breaks. You only have 10 weeks. So a lot of times I feel like it'll be like, oh, week 1 and 2, everyone's like together doing things, going out, whatever it is, and then like 3 to 8,
That
you
grind
don't even
hit.
know. People just disappear. People just disappear. You don't even know where people be at. Um, but I mean, whenever there is time for people to come together and really like emphasize our strength as Black students, it's so beautiful. It really is. I also really like appreciate how much more the Black culture at UCSD has kind of started to blend into the Black culture at SDSU, where they have like a lot less uh, like educational stresses and pressure. So I feel like their Black culture tends to be a bit more consistently strong as ours, but a lot of times SDSU crosses over with UCSD or vice versa, and it just makes the Black collegiate experience in San Diego even stronger. That's why I'm like, I really appreciate how it feels like. It feels like one big family, like it really does. Um, yeah, I would definitely say we're holding it down as best as UCSD in La Jolla, California allows
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, there's an upper limit to what you're able to do for sure. But I
Yeah.
am happy that that community between like state and UCSD, that there's still strong bridges there. One more OG question, then we can get into the music. Just
Yeah,
because I don't know if I want to know the answer to the question, but do you know what the BSU bounce is? Do y'all still do the BSU bounce?
the BSU bounced. What? No, what is that? What? Oh, what?
We
What?
losing our recipes, y'all. We losing our
We're losing
recipes.
recipes. What is the BSU back? We still do the was it the holla back? I got your back. We still do that.
Yeah, y'all got to do that.
BS,
And y'all
BSU
better be
back.
saying it with y'all chest too when y'all do that holla back. But the BSU bounce, that might be your homework for you and all your friends that's gonna listen to this episode. Like y'all gotta unearth the BSU bounce. We
Yeah.
had you gotta do the BSU bounce. It's any party, any function y'all go to on campus, like you gotta do the BSU bounce.
No, I'm gonna have to grill some of the BSU like chair and everything on. Be like, hey, get in contact with like Kennedy or someone. Ask about that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We can't lose that recipe, so I need y'all. Whether it's I don't even know if Kennedy know the BSU bounce or not though. I gotta ask her if she know the BSU bounce. We gotta see where the recipe fell off at and get that recipe back because
Yes, yeah.
when I look back at videos from my time in BSU, like if we had an event, any event, if there's music at the event, it end with the BSU bounce. Kwanzaa and with the BSU bounce, like just getting together, have our
Mm.
little dance, and yeah, it was a time. But yeah, you got to get that recipe back. That's your banquet hall homework of the other day. You, anyone at UCSD currently listening to this who don't know what the BSU bounce is, we got to bring it back.
Yes.
My
Okay, for
life will be
sure.
a
For
success if y'all bring it back. So y'all got to do it for me.
sure. Got you, man. I got you.
But transitioning a little bit into some more music related things, you mentioned that you're studying music technology, right? Or something along those lines.
Indeed. Yes. Yes, indeed.
So what made you want to study music technology? It sounds like going into college, you had this idea that you wanted to do something related to music. Where did this love for music start?
And, what J. Cole say? Let me take y'all back, man. I'll be
Not
honest.
as
I
starting
love
with Wet
music.
Dreams.
No. I'll be honest. I've loved music since I can remember, like genuinely. I've always grown up in a musical household. My mom is a very big lover of music. Um, a lot of like spiritual connection to just how music makes you feel and the emotions and I don't know, just uniqueness that it can bring. So pretty much ever since I can remember, I've been listening to music. Um, pretty much any type of music, like genuinely any type of music, like neo soul, rock, um, country, like blues, like just hip hop, obviously, like pretty much any type of music that caught my ear. Like I just was interested in delving into how it was made. And I don't know, as I got older, that kind of curiosity of how is music made just kind of evolved into me teaching myself how to produce and like make beats. I remember the first time I ever tried to make a beat. I was 11. I want to say I was 11 years old. Um, just on like a little tablet with like some like free like music maker app. And the reason I was initially making music was because when I was younger, I wanted to be a director. Um, I was really into movies and again, just knowing how those were made. So I take like my little action figures and make stories for them. And like film like little stories and short films and everything with them. But like I always wanted like music, but there was this thing called copyright. There was this thing called copyright. So
The
and
biggest
I
op
didn't
in
want
the
to get sued.
world.
Yeah, literally. I don't want to get sued. So I just started taking it upon myself to like try to mimic the music that I wanted to use with my little music maker app. And eventually it just kind of grew into me wanting to make my own music. I remember one of the first like big pieces I remember making when I was 14. I remade the beat to Humble just because I like the beat. I just like the beat. And after that, I started making a lot of like remixes to songs or like just trying to copy songs and figure out how they were made. And I don't know, it just started blossoming more into me making my own beats for music, making my own music. I didn't really like start going into completely original music until I moved back to Los Angeles when I was like 15,
Mhm.
14 or 15. And I moved back to Los Angeles, and at the time, my mom and I were living on Crenshaw, and there was a um, like a art center nearby called the Fernando Pullum Community Arts Center, and there was a class that they had specifically for um, music technology and producing, and it was free. It was nearby. I could walk to it. So I started taking those classes there, like after school or like during the summer, whenever I could. And shout out, Mr. Kofeld. He's probably never gonna see this, but in the off chance that he does, Mr. James Kofeld, shout him out because he was the one that taught me how to record, how to how to splice, how to bounce music, how to do all of like the technical stuff that nobody likes doing.
Mhm.
Shout him out because he was the one that really put me on. And after that, I just literally all I could think about doing was making music. What new sounds could I put together? What new like energy and vibes could I do? I didn't want to just be like a hip hop producer. I wanted to make pop. I wanted to make alternative, acoustic, R&B, like anything that I felt like I could make. I'm going to try to make it. Um, it was around that time I made my first mixtape, which it was around that time I made my first mixtape, which is now Lost Media. Um, it was straight up just called Introducing, um, and it was like a short, like little 8-track mixtape. I was just like making mostly beats. There were barely any vocals on it. I think there were vocals on maybe like two songs. A lot of it was like heavy, like distorted, and like it was very clear I was making this on an iPad. It was very
Yeah.
clear I was making this on an iPad. Um, but yeah, a lot of that has kind of become lost now because I had it on a SoundCloud page, and then I took it down,
Mm.
and then I tried uploading it to was it Bandcamp, and then I took that down. Like it was a lot of like back and forth with that. Um, to this day, I'm still trying to like because I know nothing on the internet is ever truly gone. I'm still trying to find it somewhere. Like, I know it sounds so crazy. I'm trying to find my own music, but like, I don't
It's
know.
real though.
There came a point where like I was like just kind of evolving my producing skills and getting like the proper equipment that I needed in order to do it. So I wouldn't just have to keep using the iPad. And I just cleaned house. I just cleaned out like all of my music that I had made up until that point. Um, and that included that very first project. And I don't know, sometimes I get nostalgic and I'm like, where is it? Like I know I had some like good stuff on there. Like, man, maybe I can like sample myself. Like I'm to this day I'm still trying to find that. Um but yeah, I don't know. My love for music is just it's just always been there. When it came time for me to like apply to college and like choose like, oh, what did I want to do? The only thing that like stood out to me was music. And I remember my mom saying, like, hey, if make your career something that you love doing so that you'll never like hate what you do. Like you'll never just hate what you do. She said like don't choose, what you think will make, the most money or like what you feel like you should do based on like a bunch of outside factors. Always pursue what you want to do and don't let like anything stand in that way. So, I mean, even though like I kind of thought about like I don't technically need to go to college for music, I could choose something else and just do music on the side. I didn't really see any point in that. So that's why I just came into college immediately knowing I wanted to do music. I wanted to do music technology specifically, because that's what I'm passionate about, and that's where like I really get to express my own like kind of unique viewpoints. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I don't know. That's just it's just always been it's just always been a part of me, like literally since I was like a little jit. You feel me? So yeah,
I mean, I think it even just comes out in how you describe and kind of get lost in talking about it. Like just being able to
yeah,
walk yourself through that journey from when you were so young and first starting to make music and just the things you were hearing and to be able to have that level of alignment with what you're studying in college too, I think is also inspirational. And I'm happy that you received that advice from a parent that you should pursue something that brings you that passion that has that significance for yourself because I
yeah,
think there's a lot of people who are searching for that alignment in what they're studying or that alignment in what they're doing for their career. So, no, I
yeah,
think that's very impactful. And I appreciate you just kind of walking through different sounds that you like and inspirations because what I pulled from your Spotify artist page it says you're sonically grounded in hip hop, R&B with elements of lo-fi, jazz, trap, and psychedelic pop. His music truly has no bounds, and he's willing to experiment with any sound his ear catches.
yeah,
And I've read that after listening to your music, and I was like, it checks out because that lo-fi, that jazz, that psychedelic pop, I was like, yeah, there's that ethereal like quality to it, and I really rock with that sound.
yeah.
So what do you hope that people get out of the music that you create, whether it's stuff that you're rapping, you're writing, or the production side of it? What do you hope people get out of it?
Honestly, the simplest way I could put it is to just never stop being you. You know, a lot of the content on my the projects that I have released, a lot of it is like somewhat dramatized just for like entertainment value, but like a lot of it is like very real stories, like very real perspectives of what I feel about life, a lot of thoughts that like I think about like like I don't mean to sound cliche, but like the stuff that keeps me up at night, that's what a lot of it is about. And I oftentimes find it kind of difficult to express those thoughts just on like a day-to-day level. Um, but in the music that I make, I just hope anybody can take away from just always be you, whoever that is. Just always be you. It's okay to feel down, to feel depressed, to feel like no one will get you or no one will understand you, but that should never stop you from just being you, being happy in whatever you do. Um, I don't know. There was uh, a lot of like my albums have like a sequence story where it kind of like starts at a high, dips to a low, and then comes back out a high at the end. And I always love the high at the end because I just want people to walk away feeling inspired. Like even if that's the only thing you listen to from me, like ever. Like you listen to that, you're like, okay, well, I don't need to listen to that ever again. I want you to at least be able to walk away knowing that this, you know, 20-year old, 18 to 19 or whatever year old, whenever I released it, um, kid did this because he wanted to, because he felt passionate about it, and he put it all together himself. Like I don't want to sound like narcissistic, but like I just want people to be able to look at that, see how much you can do within yourself when you like truly believe in yourself, and take the time to know exactly what your vision is, um, and to just never let anything stop your vision. Yeah, I don't know. I just really want people to take that away from it, at least like on an emotional level. Um, on like a more technical level, I want people to take away. Dang, this man is a fire producer. like he can do a lot of stuff. Um, like I said, I don't want to just be just a hip hop producer. A lot of like work when I started off was rooted in hip hop because it was kind of the quickest for me to learn how to make. Um, but I love just so many different sounds, and I want people to be able to take away like, wow, this was a really like boundless experience. Like this is like because of the way that Spotify and like Apple Music and all those things have to categorize stuff. Most of my stuff is categorized as hip hop or alternative hip hop,
Mm.
but I want people to listen to it and be like, this is just music. This is just eclectic, you know.
Mm.
Um, like there's so many different sounds that I attempt, and I don't know. It's obviously up to the listener because music is subjective, whether those attempts go over well or not. But just the fact that I tried it, the fact that I attempted to do it and still make it all mesh together in like a somewhat cohesive sound. Like I would just want people to be able to be like, wow, this kid really knows what he's doing. Like this kid is good at this, you know. Yeah, that's I don't know, that's really the best way I could kind of put it. It's just always don't stop your vision and just know that you are the shit. Like I'm so serious. Um yeah, that's probably the best way I can answer that question.
Hey, I think that's a perfect way to answer that question, and I love how you wrapped it up and just know that you're the shit. Um, because I think that we as artists, we as people, like we need to be able to just put out stuff, like you said, because we can, because we feel like we're good at it, just to show your message. And like you said, it's always going to be subjective, but it's going to reach its target audience, no matter if it's a single song, a series of songs, or just the beats themselves. So I'm happy that you already have that perspective in the art that you're creating. And so, to kind of round us out with this music related conversation, I have two questions I'm gonna put you on the spot for. One may be a little bit more difficult than the other. The first question is, if I'm listening to this podcast and I'm like, dang, like he seems like he is very confident in his music abilities, his music sounds very interesting. What song should I start with? Like, what song should people start with as an introduction to Desmond?
That's a good question. I would say listen to I would say listen to like whatever like the top songs on like the Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you're listening to are, just because those tend to be the songs that people enjoy the most. Obviously, that's why they're at the top. But if I had to specifically pick, um let me run down like a top five songs that I've made. I would definitely say um Shine Awakening, which is like the intro track to my most recent tape. Shine Awakening is a really good one. Um, yeah. Uh, Catch Up to Me, because I feel like that's where like Catch Up to Me is I feel like where I really mastered that like my kind of Pharrell Neptune's influence. Like this heavy like early 2000s kind of influence on that one. Mm, that's two. Let me think. Three more. Hmm. I think Eternity. Eternity is definitely one. Um, just because it's a very stripped back song. It's just a guitar loop, with like some synth and transition passages. But it's me like just really like I don't know. I feel like in a way, just kind of bearing my soul of like whatever, like that whole album was kind of about just me coming into my own as like a black man in America. So I feel like that last song is just very inspirational about like, you know, beyond this life, you are so much more, you know. Um, so I'd say definitely Eternity. Oh man, this is difficult.
This is difficult. You're not even answering the original question.
Oh wait, what? Oh,
I said one. You
oh
going
one? Oh
three,
man, one.
four.
Oh
I'm
man.
saying,
Okay.
let's say AI is taking over tomorrow. They're deleting your entire discography off of the
Oh.
internet, and you can
Uh-huh.
only say one song for someone to know who you are. It's not that deep, but I gotta make it that deep, so you pick one.
Yeah, one. Damn. Ah.
I know it's hard picking your favorite kid, but I'm just curious.
I'm just trying to think of what song I think represents like my honestly, I think it might be Shine Awakening, like honestly. Like I think it might just be that one. It, yeah.
And that is number one on your
Yeah,
Spotify because that's one of the last ones I listened to before we started recording.
yeah, I think that one. Yeah, there's like two or three transitions.
Hmm.
It definitely like it's a very psychedelic and kind of cinematic experience,
Cinematic's a
which
great word for it.
I wanted to make it that way deliberately as the first track of the album, but like I definitely feel like that kind of just explains like the best of me in a way. There's some singing, there's some rapping, there's some um like just like very transitional transcendent like sounds on there. Um yeah, I would say that. It also has one of my favorite lines that I've ever said, which is like am I a rapping ass nigga or a singing ass nigga? Shit, I don't know. Because I
I did
definitely
laugh
feel like
when I heard that.
because I definitely feel like at least when it comes to my music, like I don't really like if you had to try to put it into a box or a genre, I generally don't know which one you put it in. And I kind of like toying with that. So yeah, honestly, I think if I had to pick one, it would be that one. Shine Awakening. Yeah.
Thine Awakening it is. All right. I think that might have been the harder question, but we'll see because this next one you could choose three artists, any genre, whatever artist you want. You have to make a beat for one artist, have a feature from one artist, and then be a feature for another artist. Three different
Oh,
artists. So make a
oh.
beat for one, feature for one, and have one as a feature. Who you choosing?
Make a beat for one.
And it's going to be a hit. Like guaranteed, it's going
Oh,
to like do
guaranteed?
numbers.
Oh,
Guaranteed, it's going to do numbers.
ooh, that's a good one. Make a beat for Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar, 100%. Especially because a lot of the music I've been making recently is very like um West Coast, very gritty, underground like battle rap inspired, and he's kind of on that vibe right now. So I definitely say make a beat for Kendrick, have a feature. Hmm. You said a feature from and a feature for. I'll do I'll do
Yes.
feature I'll do feature from Pharrell Williams because I would
Okay.
want to work with him on the production. I would want
I
to I
like
want I
that.
would want to collab with him on the production. Feature four. Hmm.
You hopping on the track with somebody, it's going to do numbers on TikTok, the radio, all that.
Hmm. I have two. I actually have like three in my head. Um, for a feature, because the thing is, I feel like if I were going to do like a feature kind of thing, I would also want to like have my hands in the production. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking like honestly, this is gonna sound like a random one considering the two that I mentioned before. But I'm gonna say someone like SZA, like a SZA or like a
That's
generic
solid.
eco.
That's
Yeah,
solid.
like honestly, like if I could make like a track for her and then also feature like myself on it, and then she just takes it somewhere else, like with like the melodic and like singing approach.
I
Ooh,
rock with it.
ooh, yes, give me that, give me that. That would be so fire. Yes,
I rock with it. Real quick before we transition, because you mentioned Pharrell, have you seen the Lego Pharrell documentary?
indeed, I have.
It's
Indeed,
fire.
yes, piece by piece. That's so good. Yes, so
Yeah, I
good.
literally have a poster from it on my wall over here. But
Oh, that's
um,
tough. That's tough.
yeah, just I always love people. I love putting people on the spot to think through like artists that would be like a dream project to work with. So it's always interesting to see where people go. I had a feeling Kendrick was going to be one of the answers. I figured either to have a feature from or make a beat for. But I think if you got a beat that Kendrick rap on, like you good now because
Yeah,
Kendrick's everywhere now. But as we transition to kind of the tail end of the podcast, this is kind of more of a rapid fire round. So just going to go back to back
Mhm.
questions, all around the place, just to see where your head's at and give people an all encompassing picture before we close out the episode.
Yeah.
First things first, what's the most important thing you want to be a part of your legacy, or one of the most important things?
Mm.
Like when the story of Desmond is being told, what do you want to make sure that they're talking about?
um, honestly, honestly, just I'm trying to think of like a way to say this. I guess honestly, I would want them to talk about like my my like kind of struggles or hardships because I feel like those have really shaped me to be the man that I am now. Um, and I often like think like it is truly a miracle in God's grace that I am doing the things that I'm doing, considering what I've come from and what has happened in my life. I feel like those are essential parts of me that you probably couldn't get somewhere else, or like at least not in the same way. So, I mean, if I definitely feel like whatever legacy I leave behind, whatever influence I leave behind, it starts from there. So you would have to include that. You'd have to include like a lot of the things that have happened like within my personal life, my family, which I'm not going to go into that right now, but like a lot of those things that just seem like how did how did this come from that? Like that kind of bridge between the two sides of myself. You'd have to include that.
Oh, I think that's amazing. What about your Zen place? So either a physical place you can go to, or just a set of circumstances you create to bring your mind to a place of Zen, to a place of ease, to a place of peace.
Um, as simple as it sounds, just headphones on, dark room, drown out the senses,
Mm,
and just playing very calming music. Um, I feel like it's hard for me to meditate in quiet because my thoughts start rushing.
mm,
So I always have to meditate with some sort of background sound, whether it's just like an instrumental of something or whether it's like proper music with like vocals and everything. In order for me to find that like inner peace, I have to just become lost in um, some sort of sound. Um, I mean, even a lot of times when like I go to sleep, I can't sleep. I can't fall asleep to just nothing. Like I can't fall asleep to
mm.
quiet. Um, a lot of times I'll have like ocean sounds or like forest sounds playing, um, or like just like a calming instrumental from a song that I really like things like that. I don't know, it's just kind of funny because I know like a lot of times finding that kind of inner peace involves a lot of quiet. For me, I just have to drown out every other sense except my hearing, and then just go from there. Yeah, for me that's yeah, I think for me it really is just like my spiritual connection to sound.
I like that. How about, well, we talked a lot about your music. We didn't necessarily say where people can find you yet. So where can people find you and how can people support you?
Oh yeah. You can find me on if you actually if you just Google Desmond Michael, I'm one of the first people that pops up under United
Google
Masters.
me.
Yeah, Google me. Yes, Google me. If you Google Desmond Michael, I'm one of the first people that pops up under my independent distribution like deal with United Masters, which has been a blessing being able to put my music up the way that I want to, and then be able to reap the majority of the revenue directly to me. Is really nice being able to do that. But I mean, you can also find me on Instagram. Yo, it's Desmond Michael. That's my Instagram. Um, that's where I post most of like the music related things. I do have a personal Instagram, but y'all not getting that. But yeah, just Instagram. Yo, it's Desmond Michael. I post all my like music updates, any teasers, anything like that. I just started a TikTok right before it got banned. I started a TikTok right before it got banned. But I mean, all of that is linked on the Instagram page. So that's probably the best way to find anything. Like, generally, anything is just go to the Instagram page. It's all linked. Um, Also, just Desmond Michael on Spotify, Desmond Michael on Apple Music. Um, I'm not sure about like YouTube or anything like that. I think it's I think it's Desmond Michael on YouTube as well. That may be a bit more difficult to find, but yeah, you can pretty much find me on any of those platforms. I'm trying to think, trying to think. I think I'm on, I also have a Genius page. Um, you can find me on there. Trying to think what else. I think that's yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. And the best way to support, honestly, is just listen to the music. Um, I don't have like I don't really have any other.
Feel like you needed
Yeah, excuse
that.
me. Excuse me. I don't really have any other like things that I like ask of people besides just listen to the music and give feedback. I'm always open to feedback, even if you just DM the Instagram page. Hey, I really like this track, or hey, you could do this better. Like those would be the best ways to support as I continue to grow. Um, I would also say definitely look out for I like if you are looking into getting into my music and everything, look out because like soon I'm dropping a new tape. It's I want to say is I said earlier that like Kendrick's been on like a lot of like underground battle rap West Coast stuff and like I got some new stuff coming out, so I'm really excited for
Let me find out you're about to diss Drake.
that. Ah, no, no, no. I mean, Loki, I probably could, but like, I'm not. No, this is not about that. This is about me. This is about me expressing love for where I come from.
Yeah,
For the city of LA, for the state of California. Like, this is all about that. You know what I mean? So, you
absolutely. Almost at the end of the podcast. Next up, we have Shameless Plug Corner. You already plugged the upcoming project, but any shout outs, anything you want to manifest, people you want to shout out that have motivated you, inspired you, or just supported you?
I mean, number one, shout out God for putting me in these positions. I'm really blessed to be in these positions. Like I said, especially coming from like the personal circumstances that I've come from. It's truly just all His grace being able to give me these opportunities. Um, Shout out my mom for always being my biggest supporter, and whatever way that she can, she's always been in my corner for me. So shout out her. Um, in terms of inspirations, um, in terms of inspirations, I mean, I could go down a list of musical artists that have inspired me. So I mean, shout out all of them for just blessing the world with their sound and their music.
Give us a few.
Um, Shoot, I mean, the late great Michael Jackson is my probably my favorite artist to ever exist. Um, I mean, I mentioned Kendrick Lamar quite a few times, so obviously him. Um, Pharrell Williams is my favorite producer ever. Speaking of Pharrell, shout out Tyler the Creator too. Shout out him for always being himself and like see how far he's gotten, never compromising his own person. Shout out him. Um, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. Um, Also, just like in my personal life, shout out, my friends for like always just being good people. Always kind of being a source of like no stress and no worry. And shout out Julian Jackson. Julian Jackson, that bro. If you hear this, you're probably gonna hear this, but shout out Julian Jackson. That is my best fucking friend. Like I'm so serious. He is a great, great fucking person. He's a great man. He's a great person. Um, so happy that I ended up meeting him at UCSD. He was the one that put me onto this podcast, just like shout out him for sure. And just always inspiring me to like just continue being myself. Cause there's times where like I'm just like, man, I don't know if I can do this no more. I'm like, and just always shout out him for always being encouraging and I don't know, helping me get a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have known about or been able to get just on my own. I feel like everyone in life needs support. So
Absolutely.
just shout out him for always being supportive wherever he can. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll be sure that the video that pops up on YouTube after this plays, I'll make sure to recommend Julian's video up
Yes.
on the screen so people can go ahead and check out Julian, who has another amazing story as well. Had a really fun time interviewing him, just as much as I've been enjoying this episode. But that leads us to the final question of the podcast, which is takeaways, lessons learned. Desmond, you've officially completed your first ever podcast, first of many. We're going to
Yeah.
manifest that. What are you taking away from this podcast, as well as what do you hope listeners are taking away with them?
Hmm. Um, Honestly, takeaways for me is to just all like everyone has a unique story, and it only comes like when you have to like talk about it or think about it, you realize how much has happened. You know,
Hmm.
life is life is one big long story. Um, and everyone's story is their own while also coexisting and crossing over with everyone else's story who's also their own. Um, I mean, even just like hearing you at the beginning of the podcast talk about coming from UCSD and starting this podcast for people still finding their place or their niche in the world, like that is a story on its own, and now our stories have crossed over, you
Hmm.
know. Um, yeah, I just want anyone who's listening to this to like my biggest takeaway and what I want anyone to take away from this is that your story is forever changing. Your story is forever growing. Um, but at the same time, like even though it may be stressful, because it
Hmm.
can be life be life, and your story is the greatest story ever told. um,
That might be the title of the
yeah.
episode.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like I said, when you have to like really like sit down, like when you're asked questions about it and you have to like sit down and really think like where did all these things stem from? That's when you like realize like wow, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I feel like for me that's like the biggest takeaways. And your story's not over. Story's never over.
Hey, the story's never over. Continues to impact people no matter what time we're talking about. And I think
Exactly.
piggybacking off of your takeaway and expanding a little bit further, I think that my takeaway from the episode is that every interaction matters, and it goes back to just doing what you do. You shout out Tyler the creator, for being 100% him. You talk about being 100% you and everything that you do, and I think these micro decisions that we make in our day to day lives, they connect us with people that are just heading in the same general pathway that we're heading, just doing the things that we do because you shout out Julian for putting on this podcast. The reason I met Julian was through a friend, Christian, who was doing work with reality changers. And I met Julian at this random, well, I'm not going to call it random, at this, I forget what the exact event was, but I think it was a Black History Month event. No, I don't know if it was Black History Month, but there was this community event in San Diego, and there was a lot
Mhm.
of education partners at the event. And saw Christian there, said what's up to Christian. He's like, hey, this is Julian. This is one of my students. He's really dope. He should be on your podcast. Interview Julian on the podcast. He's like, hey, this is Desmond. He's really dope. He should be on a podcast. And we just grow naturally like that. And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
literally what the goal of the podcast is. And it's cool, even though if I feel old, sometimes it is cool talking to your current UCSD students too, just
uh,
because like I listen to a lot of basketball podcasts too, and they always talk about the NBA
hmm.
as a brotherhood. And I think that where you go to college, there's a brotherhood within that too.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, people have their fraternities and their sororities, But I think Black folks that graduate from UCSD, I feel like that's like a brotherhood community that we have as a community, which is the last takeaway is that y'all need to keep y'all recipes intact and go learn that BSU bounce.
That
Uh,
for sure. Yeah, yeah. I need to start asking around about that.
You
That
got to
that
start
that is
asking
for sure.
around because I could easily just like give you instructions or show you a video, but I need y'all. It's a research project now. I need y'all to go track down the recipes and make sure I need it in the BSU bylaws that every year y'all ensure that every single BSU member, everybody that work at the BRC, got to know the BSU balance. Um,
Yeah,
but Desmond, it's been a blast chatting with you this Saturday morning. I'm happy that we made the time and we're able to make this episode happen. I definitely think the listeners are going to take a lot from your story, and I hope it inspires them to share their story or share their story louder, share their story with somebody, because the more that we share stories, the better we're going to do as a community.
yeah,
Listeners, we gave y'all 5-star content. Make sure y'all leave that 5-star rating. Make sure y'all follow the podcast at Banquet Hall Pod. Check out a few more stories while you're here. And Desmond, I'll leave it to you for the last words of the podcast. You can go ahead and close us out.
Thank you again for this opportunity. It was absolutely lovely being able to talk to you about this. Man, I definitely am looking forward to any further podcast experiences. I'm looking forward to if you ever want me to come back, I'm all ears. I'm right here. um, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to wherever life takes me from here. I feel like this was a great. I feel like this was a great milestone for me. My first podcast, like interview and everything. Yeah, just make sure to always be yourself no matter what. A lot of times life can make you feel like you have to change, especially when you're black, especially when you're black in America.
Right.
But don't ever conform yourself, be yourself, and you never know what being yourself, where that can take you. Because it's taken me out of some of the craziest situations you can imagine and put me in some of the most blessed situations that you can imagine. Just being me. Um, yeah, to close out, just like I said before, know that your story is the greatest story ever told. Yeah.
I don't got nothing else to say after that. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all next episode.